Alrighty folks, with the MLB trade deadline just around the corner and 3 total wildcard teams in both leagues, almost 40% of the MLB teams will make the playoffs. More teams now, more than ever, feel like they have a shot to make it to the playoffs. So let's go ahead and recap the excitement so far, as well as what we can look forward to heading towards the deadline. First, let's go ahead and start with Shohei Ohtani. Now, he was the first name that was on everybody's list going back to last winter. Are the Angels going to trade Shohei Ohtani before he becomes a free agent and leaves and they get absolutely nothing? But the Angels, that's not their play. They're going a different direction. They believe that they have a chance to re-sign Ohtani in the offseason. And with them making the playoffs and potentially winning a playoff series, well, that just makes their case even stronger. So instead of trading Ohtani to help rebuild the team, they're deciding to go all in and show Ohtani that Anaheim is where he needs to stay. With Ohtani now off the board, let's go ahead and talk about the next belle of the ball, the next stud stallion in the stable that everybody wanted, which is Lucas Giolito of the White Sox. Teams like the Dodgers and the Astros showing interest in Giolito. It was really surprising to see him land with the Anaheim Angels. This was a great pickup for the Angels. This is exactly what they need. They needed help at the starter position as well as the bullpen, which is one of the worst in Major League Baseball right now. They added the reliever Lopez in the deal, which helps bolster that bullpen and also helps them really push for that last wild card spot. Currently, they're sitting about 4 games out, so we'll see if that gives them what they need to push them over the hump. Next, let's go ahead and continue with the White Sox and talk about Lance Lynn. The Dodgers were able to snag him along with former Dodger legend, Mr. Nice Swing Bitch himself, Mariachi Joe Kelly. The Dodgers needed the help in their starting rotation and also could really use help in the bullpen. Now, while this helps with both, and Kelly does help solidify that bullpen, give them that high velo arm in the pen, I don't think Lance Lynn moves the needle enough, and I do see another trade potentially for the Dodgers going forward in landing a starting pitcher, but we'll see what happens there. Next, the Dodgers also traded to bring back another former Dodger, Kike Hernandez, as well as another right-handed bat, Ahmed Rosario from the Cleveland Guardians. Both of these are right-handed bats that hit well against left-handed pitching, which is what the Dodgers sorely needed. They're one of the bottom teams in Major League Baseball hitting left-handed pitching. With that said, I do believe the Dodgers are gearing up for one big move to really put icing on the cake here to solidify their roster perfectly. We'll see if that goes down, and you know we'll be recapping that on the next episode of the DNA Sports Recap if it does happen. Next, we have the Astros picking up Kendall Graveman from the White Sox as well. This is the second time in 3 seasons that the Astros have picked up Graveman at the trade deadline. We also have the Florida Marlins picking up high-leverage bullpen arm from the Mets, David Robertson. Looks like the Florida Marlins are going forward as well. The Brewers also picked up first baseman Carlos Santana from the Pirates. And with that, let's go ahead and cover the notable names that are still potentially on the trade block. So let's start with starting pitchers. Right now we have Justin Verlander of the Mets. He is 42 years old. He has a no-trade clause in his contract, which means he would need to approve any trade that is brought to him. So we'll see if he moves or not. You also have Marcus Stroman of the Chicago Cubs. He can actually opt out of the final year of his contract, which would see him make $21 million if he believes he can get a long-term contract after having this great of a season this year. Look forward to the Cubs potentially moving him, whether or not they are in contention for that last wild card spot or not, which I do think they are. They're only 3.5 games out right now. There's also another name on this list that I also don't think they move. That is somebody that a lot of teams are coveting, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. Now they have Jordan Montgomery as a left-handed pitcher for the Cardinals, as well as Jack Flaherty and Jordan Hicks, both right-handed pitchers. All 3 of them look for them to potentially be moved if the Cards decide they are more likely to be sellers this year and want to kickstart that rebuild a little bit early. Another pitcher is Blake Snell with an expiring contract, and the San Diego Padres drastically underperforming this year. It would make sense to move him to a place where he could potentially play for a contender before his contract expires. Notable position players that could potentially be on the move: Cody Bellinger, the Chicago Cubs. You got Elias Diaz of Colorado Rockies, the All-Star MVP. You also have Lane Thomas, Yan Gomes, Paul Goldschmidt, and Nolan Arenado. But I want to know what you think, folks. You go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Do you see any of these potential names being moved? Did I miss somebody that you think is going to be part of a blockbuster deal going down at this trade deadline? Let me know in the comments down below. Look forward to us covering the deadline in full on our next episode of the DNA Sports Recap. Until then, stay safe.